Hey, I hope you're doing well. My name is Gauthier and I've been working for over 10 years now, thankfully not always the same job. And lately I've realized that something is kind of missing in my life. And I also realized that it wasn't more money or more things, but it was mostly that I was not creating anything. So a couple of months ago, I started learning how to build digital products like mobile apps, online stores, and I also decided to create this channel to share my views on different topics and overall how I want to become more of a maker, a creator, and less of a consumer. Today I really wanted to share something that I've been using and developing for myself for a while now. It's not an app, it's not a thing, it's actually a way of thinking. You know, I think there's a rule in nature that we forget a lot, which is you cannot have everything. But at the same time, if you look at society, social media, the news, we see a lot of people who seem to have everything. We see someone who's super rich and we think, wow, they must have it all and they're very successful. Or we see someone very famous and we think, this person must be incredibly happy, that must be an incredible life to have. And so I think in a lot of situations and overall in life, we are also taught to look at society in a vertical way. Like there's a ladder and some people are at the top and some people are at the bottom. But I don't think that's how reality works. Like nothing comes for free. And I really think that if someone seems to have it all in a specific part of their life, then I'm also sure that they made massive trade-offs or sacrifices in other areas of their life. And so with time, I kind of developed my own theory about this and I called it the character stats theory. All right, so the base concept is very simple. I believe that we all start life with the same amount of points to distribute. So let's say everybody gets 100 points. And so you have many categories, right? You have the looks, wealth, wellness, intelligence, empathy, inner peace, and so on. The list can go on and on. And the basic rule is also very simple, which is we all get 100 points. Nobody has more, nobody has less. And the only difference is how these points are distributed across the different categories. And sometimes I think we feel insecure because we are really bad at seeing the whole stats sheet of someone. And then when you look at Bill Gates or Kim Kardashian, for example, you see people who have maxed out their points in just a few categories. Let's say Bill Gates, he has 95 of his points into the categories wealth and intelligence. And Kim Kardashian, she has 95% of her points into looks and fame. And so basically we see their maxed out stats and we compare them to our average stats, right? Bill Gates, he has 90 points in the wealth category and you have 10 and you're like, okay, Bill Gates is winning at life. But what we don't see are all the categories where they don't have any points to balance this out. So we don't see, for example, Bill Gates who might be crushing under pressure or Kim Kardashian who is maybe lacking deep connections with people. You cannot have elite level points in some category without having another category without any points. That's the basic rule of my theory. And so when you meet someone who is maybe intimidating or you feel like they're better than you, then of course I'm not saying you should dig deeper and find everything that's wrong about them, but like mentally do the exercise of pulling out their stats sheet and look at the repartition of their points, right? So you might look at them and be like, wow, they are incredibly intelligent, incredibly entertaining, but maybe they lack empathy or maybe they lack contentment with simple things. I have to think of a friend right now because he's typically extremely successful in life, but he, for example, he's never happy with simple things. So if he goes to a restaurant, it has to be a very special restaurant. Or if he goes to a hotel, it has to be a 5-star design hotel. He's never happy with the simple things. And what's really good about this theory, in my opinion, of course I'm biased, is that it also prevents you from thinking that you are better than others, you know? Like you can look at someone and think, okay, maybe this person doesn't have much money, or doesn't appear to be extremely smart. But if you dig deeper, you see that this person, for example, has incredible inner peace or is extremely creative, for example. And here again, you'll see that this person also has 100 points, just not distributed the same as you have. And I think that this framework really helps me moving from a vertical view of society to a more of a horizontal view of society, where everybody has the same worth, but just distributed differently. And of course, I'm not talking about inherently bad people who I would just leave out of this kind of framework. All right, so at the end, this theory is really not to tear successful people down. It's really not to say that there are not incredible people on earth. But I do believe that we should stop telling ourselves that what we see on TV and what we see on social media is just incredible and unattainable. Like, we never see the full picture. And I think it's interesting to have that mindset of we all have the same worth, we all have the same points, but they're distributed differently and it's not always visible. If you take looks and wealth, these are much more visible than intelligence and empathy, for example. And most importantly, it's also to stop you from tearing yourself down. Like, don't think that other people are inherently better than you are, because they're not. Just recognize that your mix of points is unique. Stop wishing that you had the distribution of someone else and really start appreciating your own build, your own profile. And so if you resonate with this amateur theory, then please let me know in the comments where you think you have a lot of points, and maybe name another category where you don't have that many points. And I'll start with myself. So I think I have quite a few points in creativity and structure. So I can take messy ideas and structure them fairly well. And I'm also really good at routines, right? I can keep them going, I'll show up, I'll do the work. And I think I am lacking points in terms of enjoying the moment and being present, because I'm constantly projecting the future, thinking about what's gonna happen next. Not in a negative way, but I always want to know what's the next step. So I would say this is a category where I'm missing a few points. Thanks a lot for watching. If you have any feedback, please let me know. I just got started on YouTube and I'm super happy to hear what you think about my content so far. And I'll see you in the next video.